I think this is an interesting number, maybe. Let's draw an arrow from our origin to these values, but then the negative of these values. Drawing we do from here. Viewport transform. No, they have red and yellow and they don't have orange. Arg. Oh yeah, I hoped for this. Here's our translation. Clearly. From the origin of the viewport to the origin of the item. Hello, Massim. Change the name I chose, please. What? Well. Yeah, well, I cannot make any progress here. Maybe I should just go to this URL and then start reading again. Yeah. I'm still not clear about the scene coordinates. I mean, obviously what we can see are pixels, not scene coordinates. So how is that relating? Hopefully you'll actually explain that at some point. I think my blue rectangle was added with add rectangle on the scene, or was it? Yeah, here. Yeah, I have a scene add item here. Though that's not what I was looking for. So we had an add add rectangle. Yeah, there's an add rectangle. You can add a rectangle directly to the scene. Let's add that back. This one is also blue, but I don't think I'll get confused. This one is square. I think the size here is 0, 0, and then the origin is 0, 0. So we'll see the top left is wherever the origin is of wherever these coordinates refer to, and it says here that it refers to the scene coordinates. Where did I see that? Yeah, they both will show a rectangle at 1010 relative to the scene rectangle. I suppose he means the scene coordinate system, but Okay, and that's these 1010. That is the top left corner. Let's see the add. So yeah, obviously, if you draw it with the top left at the origin of the scene and then change the position to 1010, then it's going to be the same as this. I think that's logical, but apparently there's a point. The above will show exactly the same thing, but with two important differences. The first example is placed at the default 0, 0. I don't see a 0, 0 here, but... Huh? What? Well, the second is a 10, 10. Huh? What? The first item has its rectangle and coincidentally a similar bounding rectangle at 10, 10. While the second at 0, 0. Oh, and still it is unclear. There are many cases which always using relative coordinates in this. But why the hell does he use 10 everywhere? So unclear. So apparently the yellow cross, which is the origin of my item coordinates, is also the coordinate of the scene coordinates. And the scale between the two is 1, therefore this is 100 in scene coordinates, but also 100 pixels. And yeah, the other way around, I can do that, but it will look the same, they say. Let's try that anyway. But there was a difference. Well, maybe afterwards you can find that difference. So the other way is, oh, actually I'm adding it at 0, 0 now. So let's add it at, can add it at 100, 100, I think. And then change this. I think X and Y I can pretty much keep apart. They don't need to be different, but yeah, width and this should be something else. Let's change this to 80. That would be the size of my my square then. Let's just add them both. So then add another one at 0, 0 with the same size, but yeah, different color. And then that should return a rectangle apparently. Set pos. This is very, very, very unlikely going to do anything unless this is a reference. Oh, it returns a pointer. Non-const L value reference to type rectangle item cannot bind to a temporary of type. Yeah. So you can't bind a reference to a temporary. You can bind a const reference, but apparently auto is not smart enough to add the const here, and I'm glad because, well, now I know the type. I might as well just copy it. It's way more clear, right? I'm going to assume that they are exactly on top of each other. The green one was drawn last. Yeah, so from here to there is 100, and then this is a little bit less, 80 times 80. So they do end up at the same position, but there would be a difference. Well, tell me. Yep, I'm afraid. I need to turn this into an object because so I can actually do something like draw the origin. The way I understand it is that the item coordinates of both are different and that they have a different place where the origin is. Both are rectangles, so let's add a test rectangle object. Yeah, then I have a paint. I'm not sure what this is doing. Add a rectangle. So it's not just adding an item and then have the item draw a rectangle. And this then might just move the whole item within the scene coordinates. So the 100, 100 are scene coordinates. And here they might be item coordinates. The 100, 100. Let's try to reproduce this. I'm going to make a new object. Now here's test item, but let's not use that one. I'm going to add a class called test rectangle. Which is an item. Was a GUI real thing or not? Nope. How the hell is it? Do they call reels then? Oh, wait a minute. It's a QReal underscore though. That's not what I wanted. What? Where are we? The arrow is here. So I think it is a thing. Okay, so I'm gonna repeat that here then. QReal X, real Y, and then a width and a height. And, I just store that in the object. Stupid music again. PS. W. H. Yeah, the bounding rectangle doesn't really matter because it's only used to refresh things. Redraw everything every time, the whole time. I don't care. In the end, this has a meaning and must be correct. But the paint, however, is more important. And let's write that one then. Well, maybe you can draw bounding rectangle. Yeah, what am I using here? Just some random thing actually here. So since it doesn't matter, maybe you can just draw. I mean, these coordinates are relative, are comparable with these hard-coded coordinates. And that's why I call both of them item coordinates. Let's start adding comments for that. These are item coordinates. And then this is also item coordinates. Thus, if I create a new class called test rectangle, they are also item coordinates. And I'm going to use the x, y, and so on values here. Oops, H. But yeah, whatever. It's more important that we actually draw the bounding rectangle, so I can then see what that is. Although it's probably going to coincide exactly with the rectangle itself in this case. So we are drawing the rectangle here like that. So I do also need a paint method. So let's copy this one. This rectangle. Did never change this. This is a test item. Yeah, let's print this. That's apparently something that is being passed here. What else do we have? An overall views that we are in. Yeah, we need to find the view that we are part of. That would be the exact same code. And then I guess it doesn't hurt to just print all the transforms that we have. And then we do this rectangle draw. Let's not fill it. It just uses a lot of pixels. Might go over other rectangles. I am not sure how to make it just draw a frame though. Or like this. But that's a draw a rectangle then. Okay, this draws a rectangle using the bounding rectangle. That bounding thing, and that's what I wanted to use here as well, the same coordinate. So maybe you should just not do this at all, and just draw that. And I want to see the origin, yeah. Yeah, and this too. There's not that much difference between the two. Probably doesn't exist again. Might as well just go straight for this one. And I can't type. Jesus, what is this? I don't think I'm drawing them yet, so it doesn't make sense to renders. Let's first look at how to draw it. Test window again. Well, So instead of doing this, I want to create kind of the same as I did below. Although I'm gonna put it here because, well, that's where I can draw a rectangle apparently. But I'm going to do something like this. That is not necessary. Reset transform. No. So yeah, this rectangle. This the rectangle. 0, new dash rectangle. I'm gonna call it 1. Oops, wait a minute. We have to add it to this view or not? No, I want to add it to the scene. Dang, what the hell. My computer is called Daniel. So if you see Daniel in the prompt, then that's because my computer is called Daniel. No, not really. I gave it a try a little bit, but it's incomprehensible. Man, how can I mimic calling add item directly on the scene? I'm full of shit. I mean, add rectangle directly on the scene. This one bypasses the test view completely, which I like, actually. Yeah, the whole center on didn't do anything. I'm just not going to call it. Still have to add it. Are these the only 2 lines needed? So we create a test rectangle and then we add it to the scene. Is that sounds like yeah, logical. Items are added to the scene. I'm gonna use this one first, and then we have another one for which we use 0, 0. The colors are also different. Well, at least I want the colors to be different. And I don't want to talk about a brush, to be honest, or a pen. I just want to talk about colors. Well, at least here. So I'm gonna pass white and blue. Actually, yeah, that's also white. Also white, but this time green. No. At least all the information is passed to the constructor. And then I need to do this one, set position. This is called on the rectangle. I believe that rectangle is an item. Yeah, there you can see that here. And here my item is it was already added. So after we add it to the scene, I'm going to call this on the test rectangle 2. And then hope that if it compiles, it actually does what you would think that it does. Like mimic this. So now you have to add the colors to test rectangle. Yeah, wait a minute. Make C tags. I think that's just a Q color. Yeah, I don't want to. I don't really want to fill anyway. Do I? Maybe I'll just ignore the fill color. Do want to use the frame color though. In Paint. I suppose that's just this thing here. And we guessed right, because it compiles. Now, let's see what this gives us. Very, very interesting, yeah. Now, it is probably not visible, but this line here is thicker here than there. So I think the orange line goes all the way to the origin of the view. And there is an origin here. That would be the origin of this thing. And apparently there is an origin somewhere here, and hopefully there, but you can't see that because this stupid blue thing is in the way. So I'm going to move this one down. Let's put it all the way down here or something, so it's not in the way of our new objects. I want to see what's going on under the blue square. So that would be the tests something. Test. Test item. These hard-coded values. 45 and a height of 65. So it was 30 from the edge. Now I want it to be 30 from the lower edge, which is actually the larger coordinate, aka 200 minus 30 is 170. With a height of 45. 170 minus 45 is 125. And I used 30 instead of 65, which is annoying. We use 65, okay, so instead of 65 I want to use something that plus 45 gives me 200 minus 65. So 200 minus 65 is top. Minus 45 is 90. That will be only 25 higher. Nah. Nah. What am I doing wrong? Oh, wait a minute. No, not wait a minute. Actually, well, I don't know. I'm gonna make it 90 because that's what I calculated. But that can't be right. Oh yeah, no, sorry. Now I realize what I did wrong. Okay, let's do it again then. Yeah, there was a 65 here, and that's relative to the origin, not relative to the bounding box. So really, the distance is not 65, but the distance is 15. So it should do 200 minus 15 minus 45 is 200 minus 60 is 140. That's more like it. And not enough. No. Let's move it a little bit more than the height up or down. So, you know, I don't know, man. I'll just make it 190 then. Not understanding why, but as long as it is out of the way. It's perfectly okay. Now, so yeah, we have I think indeed both squares exactly here. Still, but it looks alike, and they also both have the origin here. What? Yeah, sorry. Well, the purple lines are drawn relative to, well, through coordinate 0, 0, item coordinates. And the rectangle itself, see that this is not possible. I should have two crosses. I think maybe one cross is hiding under the yellow one. Let's just draw the thing under an angle of 45 degrees, I think. A little bit smaller, or just smaller would be sufficient. But let's rotate it as well a little bit. So wait a minute, what do I want? Like this, yeah. Minus 25. Now it becomes a square root of 2 a little bit bigger again, but no, still small. Yes, so we have 2 crosses. It was hiding under the yellow one. So the yellow cross here is coinciding with one of the purple ones. I do think, however, that the orange lines go to this point in both cases. So now I have 3 orange lines, one going to from here to yellow cross, and one from here to the purple cross, and one from here to there. These two don't even know about each other, so it's really going here. Don't have to test it. So that would be a coincidence then. If this would be somewhere else, then it wouldn't go exactly through the yellow cross here. I just want to move this point. Aha, yes, totally. Okay, how do we do that? Why is that so much of a coincidence then? Oh, this is 45 degrees for some reason. That is a coincidence. What? Yes. Well, yes, I say yes. It's not even going to this corner. Uh-oh. Well, that's weird. Oh, it's not weird actually. This is the change. This is the set pos distance. So this is a parallelogram. You move this origin from here to there, so that this purple cross was moved. While this line apparently is not changing. So this is the same as the translation that we did with the set pos. Meaning that because what I'm drawing is the negative of the viewport here. Transform, what was it? This one. Why is this paint not saying what this pointer is? It's calling bounding rectangle. Entering bounding rectangle. This is not printing what this pointer is either. Oh, yeah. Steps this test item. Maybe I should just turn the whole test item off. I think it's getting in the way now. Let's get rid of the test item for the moment anyway. Though that was added in the constructor of the window. It's more clear, isn't it? Aha, do we have a non-zero scene transform here? So 100, 100. That's probably that is this distance from here to there, or from here to there. And then the viewport transform is the orange line. And the view transform and the item transform are still at 0, 0. And absolutely nobody knows what the world transform is, or the device transform. These are mysterious. I think these two are exactly the same thing, just under a different name. I think I'm going to ask ChatGPT about that. Maybe, yeah, well, you still won't know that, but if it says no, then I know more, maybe. Yeah, okay, I have many things to do. Let's do one at a time. So I have code that says prints this, which is then done there. And now you go to my paid for. Yeah, I'm paying now. That's why we have to use it. Grok, no, Claude. There, TTP. That's an absolutely invisible icon. Should just click on the tab that doesn't seem to have no icon. I mean, now you can see it, but if it's like this, there's no icon. I'm gonna start a new chat, so it's hopefully not getting confused with the older broken chats. I'm 6.9 or whatever. Am I at 6.9? I wouldn't even know. Q26, 6.9, yeah. I think I'm going to ask a trick question. It gives me more security about that it is correct. The current total transformation applied to the painter. This is the matrix that maps logical item scene coordinates to the device. Screen / printer coordinates at the moment you call it. Screen coordinates. I doubt it so much. If I move my window, nothing happens. Are you sure about the... It's never an error of the AI. It's a subtlety of how graphics view works. Talk like the expert, AI. So you have the feeling that all of this goes over my head because it's just nonsense. Okay, we have a device transform, yes, which I paint as well. That is the one that incorporates viewport, DPI, device pixel radio. The fact that your window may be on a 2 times higher DPI screen, etc. Moving the window around on the same screen normally does not change this either. Oh, because the DPI device origin won't change. You would see it change only if you dragged it into a monitor with different scaling or rotated the screen. Well, we can do that. It's not super different, but I think it's a little bit different. Let me have a look how different it is. Open console, don't see console. It's, yeah, it's different. The On the monitor on the left here, the window is a little bit higher. It's like here, the top. But yeah, that might not be super interesting. However, the bottom is like here, the top of the fingers. So that's more. It's like a centimeter here, and this is like 2 millimeters. In other words, actually, even that doesn't matter, I suppose. I probably won't be able to see that. This is just a physical thing. The monitor is a little bit smaller. That's where I go. Anyone can guess what this is, then you know where I will be going in a few weeks, I think, in beginning October. That's one day to play chess. Well, well, well. Okay, this is the exact same monitor. Still it changed. Oh, well, not anymore. Why? And this monitor? Also no change. Oh, wait a minute. Did it change? I think it changed. Where's my painter there? Not clear. Nah, maybe it just moves a bit. No, there's a difference between these two. But yeah, that's just... Ugh. Oh, it did change. Something changed. You'll never know what. Okay, let's try it again. Now we have 1016. Still 1016. So I can move it around what I want on this monitor, nothing happens. And then I move it here, partly, also nothing. Well, it's not even redrawn now I think about it. Oh, now it's different. The 1016 is gone. And so does the painter transform and the world transform. They just totally change. It's pretty much impossible to understand, I think. So I'm having it here. Okay, first of all, I'm gonna turn one off. Which one though? Maybe I should just ignore the paint thing because the expose is also interesting. You probably can tell these apart by that. No, it actually said it made an error. Oh no, did not make an error. It was imprecise. It's unbelievable, this. Shit. Hello, Clemens, Tom. One, two, three, 5 different ones. I think that I should just ignore the painter transforms. I don't know what they are, and they are whatever they are. You can't rely on them. I mean, if it changes 5 times, well, you do not do even anything. It can impossibly be useful for me as a coder or for the program itself. Must be something external that is being influencing it or something. Yeah, let's see what this AI is saying. You are running into... Oh yeah, I have seen this so often. This is typical Yeah, okay. Well, maybe he's right. Let's just read it. You're running into GUI graphics views multi-pass, multi-rectangle painting. Ensured, painter will transform and thus transform, and an item's paint is not a single stable item to view matrix during a frame. GUI graphics view tiles the dirty region. GUI region into several rectangles and replace painting per tile. For each tile it applies an extra integer translation, so the tile's top left becomes the origin for that pass. You would think I would be able to see that. Man, it should be asking me to paint a different part. For each tile it applies an extra integer translation. So the tile's top left becomes the origin for that pass. Translation here is mathematics, yeah. Mathematics. So this moves it, as it were. It moves it in a whole number. Result, the translation part of the painter transform changes between passes, even though your viewport transform and the item view geometry are unchanged. When you move the window between monitors, device transform can jump different backing software device origin, while viewport transform stays constant. Focus changes, you also trigger new update regions, hence more tiling / more passes, which is why you see the cycling through 5 transforms, even without moving the window. Think of the effect of matrix during an item paint pass as painter world transform is tile offset times viewport transform times item scene transform times item local. Tile offset is that per class integer translation. Okay. Yeah, I came to that conclusion as well. So you should not use this or the device transform. Aha. Well, that might help us during this test. A full viewport update. Paint a whole viewport. Could do that. Okay, so if paint is being called multiple times per frame, then surely that is so that the paint function can draw a different part every time. Therefore, it should tell paint which part needs to be drawn. That call. Yet the rectangle is the same every time. Okay, let's do this for now. At the very least until I understand what all the transforms are for. But this just makes it even way more difficult than that already is. Okay, so I highlight it. That didn't even change anything. May I move it? Nothing changes. And I click here and nothing changes. What the hell? I'm still getting multiple passes though. See the same numbers here. I don't think it worked. Just click between these two. Now you see it here. This 310 409 is highlighted. You see the regular spaced and it is super spaced apart. Though that's 10 blocks apart, right? 5 per item. Can even count it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep. That did not help me. I never. Oh, wait a minute. I did not forget to compile it. But. Not sure this item has to do anything with that view. Yes, it's Superman. Yeah, I'm totally vibe coding now. Horrible. Oh my god. Yeah. Oh my god. Okay, that's highly annoying. I'm test view. What does it mean, the first test view? I have only one test view. But okay, you can still do that. If this is the way that I should do it. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so this is just wrong. Maha. We are being called for 5 views, indeed, because, yeah, the edges also are put in the same scene and they're just drawing basically the same stuff. And then what I do here is I pick the test view out of it, which is kind of nonsensical because only one of the 5 times that we're being called, we are being called for the test view. Okay, that that lifts a lot of the mystery and the total non-understanding what was going on. A lot. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So let's copy this. So this gives me a graphics view, Q graphics view pointer to the actual graphics view that is being painted at this moment. And if that is not the test view, then I could paint, or I can just not paint, who cares? But I should not print debug output, because that would be, I only want to see the debug output of the center view. So I want to move even this down and then use this to detect if this is the center view or not. So let's say is, call it that, so why not, is the center view. That would mean that if I dynamic cast it to a test view, then the current view, then that is unequal null pointer. And then, well, if it's not a center view, I'll just return. I just don't draw anything. And then, yeah, test view has changed into a current view. Although it's also test view, but I don't know. What I'll use this. And this is the thing that I turned off. It's called test item, but basically I just have to do this for every paint. So let's just copy it again. So very much code duplication here. Oh. Bad AI. There is no widget in option. Isn't that just this widget? Yeah, just using the. It's no longer testing option, which makes sense because, well, I was already dereferencing it. It is always non-zero. I'm not even sure if testing widget makes sense because obviously you always have a viewport. And if you don't, that would break as well. Let's just not test it. Come on, you have a widget. Oopsies. Yeah, okay. So before it was drawing the same thing here and there and there and there because they are just linked to the same scene. The scene has two items, but they were being drawn in each of those four as well, so 5 in total. That is completely correct. Now, let's see. Do we have no debug output anymore now? Now we have 0 debug output, but it's impossible. Was it destroying stuff? Okay, move to here. Yep, now it gets drawn. Pretty minimal as well. We just draw. We do 2 paint calls here. Great. And if I highlight this, it doesn't even try it again. Still the same, right? Okay, so now I highlight it here, and I do that. Ooh, it did a lot of stuff. It does repaint it. But only once. Yep, very good. Very good. Did it get repainted again? Just because... Oh, it did get highlighted. I pressed Alt-Tab and that highlighted immediately that thing again. Oh well, don't scroll too far off. So 276.94 and 310.158. That's still the same. Let's highlight. No, I think this one is the most sensitive to change. Let's highlight that one. Yeah, it's just it doesn't change at all. Move the window, nothing. Move it to a different monitor, nothing. Change the highlight, it just stays the same. And then move it to this window, which is slightly monitor. I mean, slightly different. Doesn't make any difference whatsoever. Now it's stable. Good, very good. Now it doesn't matter where I put the window. Have it in focus or not. The transforms are stable. I was just confused by 5 different calls for the 5 different views. Then we can continue to show. An hour ago I said, I don't get this, let's ask the AI. Well, we did. Now we know. Good. So Um, it's time to eat. I think I'm going to do that because I didn't eat at all today. I decided to lose 2 more kilograms. I'm going to 66 kilograms. Well, I'm 68 now. I think 66 is still healthy. But, yeah, time to eat. And I'll be back later on this evening. But to summarize, I just draw 2 items now. One item is drawn and then moved, and I think that's this one. And the other one is just drawn using 100, 100 as the top left corner. So they end up at the same place, but the origin that belongs to the one that was drawn with 100, 100 as top left corner has the origin here, obviously, because yeah, this is 0, 0, and the top left corner was drawn at 100, 100. And then this is 180, 180. And the other one was drawn at 0, 0, and then we moved it inside, I think inside the scene. So the origin is still here. 0, 0 is the top left corner. That's how we did draw it. But I moved it inside the scene. So the, 100, 100, so it got exactly on top of the other one. But then you see that the origin is different between the two, for obvious reasons. And the orange line is the viewport transform, this one. Now from here to here is also 100, 100. So this is the viewport, the origin of the viewport. And then using the set pos also moves this point here. So I'm not sure what this is pointing at, to be honest. Here it looks like it points to the origin of the viewport, but it's probably not the case. This translation is from wherever it is to there. That is the translation. So maybe it's scene coordinates, and the viewport and the scene here are different as well. It could be that this is the origin of this in scene coordinates, and then this is the origin in item coordinates, and this is the always the top left, aka the origin of the view. Hey, wait here, scene transform. Is it not just solved then? The scene transform is 100, 100. I can draw that in as well then. Pretty sure that then whatever, I mean, they call it scene transform, but yeah, and transform is of course between two coordinate systems. So I don't know, but I would say that it is this one here. This is the whatever this is. They call it the scene transform, and that this is definitely 100, 100. And the scene transform for the other object is 0. Yeah? So that's why it coincides with the corner here. It's just there's a line here from 0, 0 to 0, 0. It's invisible line. And since this is the corner of the view, and this is called scene transform, then the one end has to do with the scene. So I say this is the view and this is the scene. Yeah, so this must be the scene origin. That's my guess at the moment. And we have even a device transform actually. Which very much looks like the viewport transform plus scene transform. But I'm drawing this one. That is kind of strange and maybe I'm not understanding what the viewport is yet. And the painter transforms are probably better just ignored for now. I think that item transform is, if I understood ChatGPT correctly, that is 0, 0, it's identity matrix. And that would only be non-identity if I change the matrix, change the transform in the paint itself. For example, it's easy to draw a square. It's not easy to draw a rotated square. So what if my paint needs to draw a rotated square, then I would first change the transform to include a rotation and then just draw a square. And then of course this would be a rotation instead of an identity matrix. And then the item coordinates would still be the square. So that might be interesting to try a little rotation, add a little rotation here. But I want to do just restrict myself to translation and scales, which is the only thing I need, and that it should be enough to tell all the different transforms apart. I could also just add a little scale. It's maybe better, yeah. So in Paint, change the scale. So this becomes say 2, and then see what happens if it becomes larger or smaller, and or which point stays at the same place. You can imagine that any scaling inside Paint in item coordinates is going to leave the origin of the item coordinates at the same place, which would mean that if we change the scale, then the rectangle that is using this as origin will become like this, while the square that uses this as origin will end up here, bigger, but end up here. So they will no longer overlap, I think, if we change the scale here. Let's do that.